Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final day here of the regular season of Split 1 for Valorant Challengers. Sierra, Ash, and oh my god, Dan Dryad, is that a new piercing you got?
Oh my god, oh my. I was like, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. What does she do? Bring it up, of course. It's fine. Yeah, it's a new piercing. What about it? I feel kind of cool about it, so, you know.
Because I just want to be like, no, it's actually cool, but I had to right away to get that out of there. But how are we all doing today? Dan's rolling up with a new piercing. Ash, how are you doing?
I'm good. Not nearly as cool as Dan with anything new to bring to the table, but I got to watch the matches yesterday. I'm excited. It's like an elimination qualification day. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, the final day again here of Split 1 is next week we'll be looking at playoffs. So it's the final opportunity, looking at the bracket here, for these final teams to try and get a spot. So yesterday we had seen what teams were on this danger line / celebration line, and now we officially have the matches. Winthrop going up against YFP, M80 going up against Trust and Plug, and then on the side stream it's going to be Nightblood Gaming going up against Core. Across the board, Dan, this is going to be so exciting. This format, the fact it all comes down to the wire, it's going to be a great day of Valorant ahead.
Yeah, until yesterday, we didn't even know that we were going to have 3 matches today, and it just proves how competitive this has been. We have a lot of the teams that we're looking at right now in the mid-table trying to get those enough, or those 3-3 turning to 4-3. But it's been really close between the two, and a lot of the teams that have faced each other in the past, obviously they don't get the chance to face each other again. It's going to be new matches, and I think it makes it to once again balance and figure out who are the teams that are going to stay at the top and make it to playoffs today.
Especially too, Ash, with these mix of teams, for teams like M80 and YFP, for it to be right down to the wire is insanity. So a lot of pressure on those big names, whereas for other teams that maybe not as much expectations coming into this season with, like Winthrop University, getting these 3 wins, they have the opportunity to show us what they've learned and try and go for an upset to try and get that spot. And I love that we have all these different stories coming through.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of really big litmus tests today, I think, between all of these matches, to be honest, when you consider their previous results to get to that 3-3 and then looking to try and pull ahead to get that playoff spot solidified as well. Even yesterday's match, YFP versus Trust and Plug, the fact that it came right down to the wire in that overtime on Lotus was insane for Trust and Plug to even get this chance to even try and continue to fight for a playoff spot.
And a little chip on the shoulder there of YFP that now have to, okay, well, we made a mistake, have to go into today and claim the playoff spot now. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the matches, if you've been tuning in the last couple of days, we've been playing some Valorant Guesser, and we got one more day to see if the 3 of us, this desk combined, can be better than the big bad production that's trying to mess us up with all the Valorant locations. So, simple game. They're going to show us a location on the map. We got to try and figure out where it is. We've been here. We've played this. I'm ready. I'm ready to take down production. Are we feeling confident today, guys?
No.
We are not feeling confident today. Like, what is
We're
this?
feeling a little nonverbal.
Nah, guys. No. I'm going to try this again. Are we feeling confident today, guys?
I don't know. We felt really confident the first day that we played with Roy, and then we were. Oh, this one's easy though. This one's just
Pearl.
I needed the confidence sooner on, and then you guys instantly get it.
It has to be B screen. No?
Yeah.
I think that's the only spot that it could really be on Pearl.
Yeah, I think so.
You guys are just like have the silence confidence, I guess, because you say there's no confidence and then you instantly get it. No big deal.
Listen, but the first one is always easy, and then they hit us with like the last 3, and you're just like, okay, what is going on?
Yeah, this one was easy.
Yeah.
I believe in us. I think we're gonna get all of them right today. Good job, guys. Easy one to start off. All right, production, let's see what you have for us next. And of course, in Twitch chat, throw your guesses out. Oh my gosh, it's the crab. Wait, well, what map was the crab on? It was literally on the observer feed yesterday.
Oh, yes, you're right.
So it's one of the 3 maps we saw yesterday.
This is Split, no? Am I crazy?
Split?
No, I think you're right.
No, wait, no.
I think you're right.
Yeah, okay. I'm like gaslighting myself right now.
Whereabouts on Split?
Like mid?
Yeah, it has to be mid.
Would it be like...
I'm not 100%.
Or spawn? Is it in attacker side spawn on Split?
Oh, I don't know. It could be. You could be right, but I don't know.
There's the little roofie though. I feel like bottom mid makes sense there. Do you
We're
kind of
locking it
see
in.
like the
It has to be
realize-
split. I think it's market. I think it is market. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
I was
think
right
you're
at the
right,
beginning.
All right, let's lock it in. First thought, best thought. I like how Vance and Jen are playing along in chat as well. Vance is Vance is split ramen. So,
Yeah,
Good
okay.
job.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I think what
Yes.
confused me was there's also a turtle on here, and the turtle is the one in attacker spawn. I got them mixed up.
That's true.
Great. Good job, guys. We're 2 for 2. I think we're doing pretty okay. Also, Vans got in trouble for trying to play along in the chat. Rest in peace, Vans.
It's okay.
All right.
I don't read
Oh,
anything.
this is
right
Icebox.
now.
Oh, this is Icebox.
Oh,
Yep.
kitchen.
Easy.
Easy.
Wow.
Easy. All right.
This one feels a lot easier than the first day that we did. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yesterday there were
right?
some easy and some that were more complicated.
They tried to trick us with a map that like we're not seeing right now, but it's also the funniest little sign, especially if you actually go and shoot the snowman. So we're not gonna be fooled here, production. All right.
No. The next one we're not gonna know, I bet.
No, believe, confidence.
Oh,
this is
ascend. This
Yeah.
is pizza.
Pizza, yeah. You'd see the pizza. Like we'd see.
Yeah.
Production's gotten soft.
We're
That's
chilling.
all I'm saying.
Are we the goats?
We might be the goats. We might, in
Okay,
fact,
might
be the
be.
goats. All right. Production, lock it in. Ascent, pizza, easy.
They can't
I
keep
see,
up
like,
with
the
us. We're,
steam
we're
wall.
I
too
know.
good.
Pizza too.
Too good. Too good, guys. All right. We're 4 for 5 right now. I think we're getting 5. So let's see if we can end this on an absolutely flawless run right now. Final round of Valorant
Okay.
Guesser. Oh, this is Fracture. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereabouts on Fracture?
I don't know, actually. I have no idea.
No, isn't this literally like isn't it ropes on the other side, and like you can only really see this if you're going through the ropes, and then this is like the little thing on the sides of the ropes that look in. You don't actually look at this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it is.
I
'Cause I don't.
thank
There's no
goodness.
other spot. I know this is on Fracture, but there's no other spot that this would be on because it's not in defender side spawn. It
I'm
has
so
to be.
glad you knew what I was trying to
I
say.
have no idea.
Yeah. No, Sarah cooked. Sarah cooked for sure. I know
Cook it.
exactly what she's talking about here.
Ash always got me. Ash has always got me. All right. It's Fracture ropes on the little sidey thing. As production's making fun of me.
It's
in
like
chat,
it's a zip line. It's a zip line like when you take it from one side of the attacker spawn to the other side. Yeah.
That is. Oh, I would have never. I mean, it looked like Fracture, but I wouldn't know that it's there. Okay, that makes sense.
I love going back and forth on the ropes, especially like mid round, and then they can like everyone can hear you, but then they don't know what you're doing. So it's big brain you get in their head. But
Okay.
congratulations, guys! We're certified the goats.
This is the best desk. I mean, we
Yeah,
got
we
everything
haven't.
right.
We didn't get anything wrong. Let's
Yeah.
go.
We
It's
locked.
too easy.
And Fraction yesterday was like, "You guys need more time. Like, you guys are not good at this game. I'm
Yeah.
sorry." And we got it instantly today. We're on top of it. We're on our game today, which perfect little transition. We'll have to see what teams are on their game today. Sorry, my bad. I'm just gonna okay. I couldn't stick with it. I couldn't stick with it. All right, YFP going up against Winthrop University. We have 3 teams to qualify to playoffs today and 3 teams to eliminate. And this is where we're gonna be kicking it off. 2 very different stories for these teams, of course. They're sitting at the same record, but the runs to get to this point so far have been drastically different. So let's talk about this YFP squad first, because going into this split, I mean, this team has some fantastic names. I was about to say stellar names by accident. I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't go for the joke twice. But I mean, realistically, Dan, you look at this core, it's a team that, in my opinion, feels like they should have already qualified, and they almost did yesterday, barely missing out.
It was a crazy upset. They lost against Trust and Plug, and I think people were just not expecting this to happen at all for YFP. It was a team that, as we talked about towards the beginning, they are one of the ones with the most experience, and that is because of Jake and because of Stellar. Jake coming from Cloud9, and then Stellar coming from 100 Thieves, as you can see by the jersey. That is not different at all from everybody else. But it's a team that comes with experience. It's a team that has that in their back. But now when it came to that matchup out of the most, the match yesterday that everybody thought was the easiest one for them, possibly against Trust and Plug, they couldn't really close it out. It went all the way to the third map, and then when things got chaotic, it was Trust and Plug taking advantage of it. So now, I mean, they have another chance, and it's against Winthrop, but I feel like it's a much easier opponent for them.
Yeah, I feel like what was a bit difficult for YFP to watch is the fact that on paper, like you're talking about, this team is supposed to be really, really solid, one of the top contenders within BCL from the top start of the season. But I feel like there are also times where, despite all of that experience, they lack in a couple of those fundamentals where there are just some of those micro mistakes where I feel like they take too many risks at times as individuals. So I'm really looking for them to like lock in and be able to play more as a unit in some of those key moments.
Especially since we got to see this team's back at stage 3, and there's been a core on this team that has played for a bit. So hopefully at this point, yesterday was nothing but a little bit of just a, trip over the finish line, and they can actually fully get through that finish line today. But Ash, I know you said that you watched through these games yesterday. We had a lot to say about Penny yesterday, and I want to know your thoughts of Penny yesterday and what we can maybe expect going into today.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head talking about Penny yesterday, right? Just driving home that Penny really is. I think Roy was the main person mentioning like how good of an opener he is, the second best opener basically within the Challengers League right now. If you take into consideration his first kill versus first deaths, which is at like a 1.8, which is second only to Kane Zera, by the way, with like a near like 3-point ratio when it comes to those first bloods and first deaths. So it's crazy the consistency in which he's able to be the tip of the spear, but that also says a lot about his team being able to follow him up as well, to be able to guarantee that he's getting that pick, but he's not even necessarily getting traded by the enemy half the time because his secondary is so good at being able to clean things up, allow him to continue to push forward. And then also on this Yoru that we're seeing into this replay as well, his ability to TP out and get away has been a big factor too.
Penny is amazing, and we talked about him a lot yesterday because he was that X factor for a lot of the rounds, and part of why we went all the way to the distance, or was why they even got that first map in the first place. But it's still a factor where, okay, we talked about Penny so much, but what is the rest of the team able to do with this Yoru composition, especially because they like to run the Yoru in pretty much every single map, I believe. So when you're looking at it, I think another piece that was stepping up yesterday was Jake. Jake was so incredibly good, and I think one of the points of concern that we had was, okay, first kills are going this way of Penny, but if Penny is not opening up the round, is not opening up the site for the team, then they seem to be kind of stuck. But Jake was opening up those kills by himself, being such a strongholder on Lotus. I thought that if they were going to win that map at the end, that 15-13 that went the way of Trust and Plug, it was because of Jake. He was insane holding that seaside and getting so many flicks and multi-kills that I feel like, yes, I've seen from him, but not this consistently like he did on this map. So I'm liking that he's stepping up to the plate, and he needs to do today as well.
Just in time to be able to see, these are stats from just yesterday's game, but to be able to see that come on through in such a close series, if there is even just an ounce of that replicated today, then this should be a YFP team that should feel very confident going into this series. But on the opposing end of things, we have this Winthrop University squad. So this Winthrop University team, when you look at the players, like there is a couple of players here that we have spoken to like to the moon about. There has been, a couple changes with Alec Oach kind of more stepping into this roster, with them players kind of like rotating out just a smidge. So it's kind of been a different look than the beginning of the season for things. And Ash, they've gotten their 3 wins, but can they get the upset today? That's the big question.
Yeah, I think that's what is kind of crazy about today, right? Being in this spot where it's all qualification and elimination for these teams. And when you look at the history that Winthrop has, while they do have made it this far, it's also been a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to those results because of who they faced up against as well. You look at some of the history here, and their wins were against some of the weakest teams, ones that have already been eliminated within BCL Stage 1. And those losses as well, while some of them were close at times on certain maps, I want to say up against like SRB, and I know we don't have the TSM matchup in this lineup either, but they were pretty big stomps for their enemy and really tough losses to see. So I think this game up against YFP is a huge litmus test for them.
It'll be the opportunity to prove that these 3 wins that they have isn't just this opportunity of, oh, it's just the weakest teams and we can't step up to the big dogs. It's a big opportunity, Dan, to show that when push comes to shove, a team like YFP is a team that they can, in fact, go toe to toe with.
And the thing is, to be honest, I don't think it's going to be easy at all for Winthrop. I think this is a very, very difficult matchup for them. And it's not because YFP is good or bad. It's not really having to do with that. But Trust and Plug had a really good match yesterday. And YFP has been a consistently good team. On the other side, we just talk about Winthrop and the matches that they've won and they lost. It seems like they haven't been tested just yet. And it's pretty concerning because the one match where you're going to be tested the most is going to be your qualification match for playoffs. So there's a lot of stake. There's a lot of pressure that they're going to have to deal with, and they have the players to do so. But it's a YFP that is heavily favored today.
I mean, looking at the players and looking at one player in particular, someone that we've talked about a lot on this team has been Infiltrator. And if we're highlighting Duelist on the other end, I'm looking then for the Duelist on this side, Ash, to really make that impact, to open up these rounds, to try and go toe-to-toe YFP in this sort of way.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that. I think that you look at the win conditions here for Winthrop, and Infiltrator is just consistently at the top when performing for his team, right? Being that tip of the spear to get in and make that space for the team. And I think that there's an insane litmus test for him. I know I keep using that word, but it really is just a big trial almost. I think this YFP matchup to be going up against Penny, who is one of the best duelists right now within BCL, and having to go head to head up against him. Yes, Infiltrator's been putting up numbers. He has good stats. He has decent stats, all things considered, but he's nowhere near the level of Penny when you look at them head to head. So I feel like this is a really big question of, is he going to be able to step up to the plate and have that consistent performance up against another duelist like Penny?
I mean, we've definitely set the stakes here. One team clearly the underdog, the other the favorite. A team that realistically maybe should have qualified already, but talking and narrowing it a little bit more on today's series, I want to talk about the map picks and bans, because this is where we can really see some runs kind of make or break. And I'm very intrigued with this first pick. So Lotus coming out, Winthrop University, they have had a recent composition swap on here, and Ash, I actually like it a lot, but this was also where YFP barely lost yesterday after a double overtime. So, I mean, sure, the end was a little rough, but up till then, like, this looked really good for YFP.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that if you were to look purely at, okay, results, you would say this is probably the best chance Winthrop has to go toe-to-toe up against YFP when you look at both of their map pools. I think that this is the best chance for Winthrop, but like you were saying, I think YFP is a team that comes back with a vengeance. And even though that was such a close, and I think the fact that it was a close matchup lights the fire up under them a little bit more, because it's like, oh, we could have closed out on Lotus. We could have just already taken that playoff spot, and now they're down in this elimination qualification matchup. It's going to be a scary team to play up against, and I think it's kind of surprising that WU actually pick into Lotus first.
And even going into the second map, that map of Fracture, I feel like it's really interesting. We haven't seen it in the past 2 weeks for the set of YFP, but it's a map that has been really good for them. That last time that they played it, it was against Blue Otter, a team that we saw yesterday, and they won 13-3. It was very dominant, and this is one of the maps where we get the chance to see Thief on the Vice, and especially Physic on the Tejo, and also a map that we don't get to see very often. So Physic, every time that he gets to play on the Seho, I feel like brings so much to the team, and I'm just wondering if this is going to be one of the maps after such a long time, after maybe 3 weeks at this point, where we're going to see Penny back on the race instead of the Yoru.
I think what's kind of scary about the Fracture as well, Dan, is the fact that this is the map that has the most footage, I guess, for Winthrop University. They have the most results on it. It's been the most played for them. And if YFP were doing their prep going into it, that's kind of why I would imagine, yes, they did have a great, initial result for themselves as well with that 13-3 up against Blue Otter. But then they're picking into a map where Winthrop have obviously been comfortable, but there's been a really great opportunity to go back, look at anti-strat, and see what they can kind of expect out of those tendencies due to it having so many reps. So I pretty scared for Winthrop, to be honest, even though technically I think that this still is one of the best map pick ban scenarios for them, I think it's going to be a really uphill battle.
Okay, well, we've seen the maps. We've talked about the stakes, everything else. Let's get to our predictions for the day. I know me and Dan had exchanged a lot of words yesterday about the predictions, and I'm going against all of you guys today. Winthrop on top. Let's go, baby.
This is crazy, Sierra. Why? This is insane. I mean, like, sometimes it's like, okay, we take a little bit of a risk, but this one is this is a different level.
So, okay, the first day when I predicted Nightblood and I was against the world, first off, it was the most fun smack talk that we had in the green room every single round. I love the investment. Makes more fun. Second, underdog story, cinema. Love it. Third, YFP added us and it was like, oh, now this makes sense. After their loss yesterday, because we extremely caster cursed them, and we all voted YFP on the desk yesterday, and we caster cursed them. So I don't want any caster curses. I want some clean Valorant. So someone has to do it. And you know what? I'm proud to be the one to say that Winthrop's going to take the series today.
Yo, low-key, it kind of sounds like you don't sound like a real believer after you just said caster curse like 3 times in a row. I'm a little bit sus of your choice now, Sierra. But no, I think that I got to give you the kudos for going with that underdog story. You know me, I also love an underdog story. But to be honest, I love the YFP roster just a little bit more. So I had to continue to go with my heart on that one. I feel like the story that we're continuing to tell is the fact that they are the favored ones to win. I think it would be shocking to everyone if you were to ask people back at like week 1 of VCL if YFP doesn't make playoffs. I think most people would be surprised.
Yeah.
You know what? It's all for fun. I got the win over Dan yesterday. That's all I cared about. I'm okay to be wrong today.
1-1. Come on.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. We take what victories we can around here. But let's head over to the agent select. I mean, recent tape on these teams. So we had already kind of discussed thoughts, but I want to dive a little bit more into this here, Ash, with how we can expect this one to be facing off today.
Yeah, I don't really expect any changes, and it's not going to happen for this matchup. I think that YFP's comp plays really well up against the Winthrop comp, considering that Penny consistently is running that Yoru, who can deal with Moobs' Vice really well. The clone going out, taking the wall out of the equation early if they look to default and deny that information at top of round, I think it's going to be really important for YFP.
And just one thing, if you're looking for one specific win condition on the side of Winthrop, you need to keep your eyes on Nasi. This guy is the GOAT of Sova, and he always has highlights on this map. The composition seems a little crazy, but when you want to stick to something a little bit more comfortable for the team, and it's going to be Nasi on the Sova, getting so much value, getting that info, and allowing the team to play that crazy style that they like to do.
I mean, it's the David versus Goliath year of Tier 2 Valorant. Let's see heading into Lotus if Winthrop can instead get that upset, or if YFP is going to be starting off strong. It's time to head over to your casters, Van Silly and Lemon Kiwi, to take you through our first map.
Thanks so much, Sierra. I think the most important letter of the day, everybody, is Y. Why is YFP here? Why haven't they qualified yet? But for Winthrop, I mean, the only thing that matters is the W. This is about getting to playoffs, Vance.
Yeah, look at you with the wordsmith. That caught me off guard. That was clean. That was very, very nice. But indeed,
I'm inspired by Kendrick.
Yeah, awesome then. But no, it is going to be a crazy game that we're about to witness here between YFP and Winthrop University, especially looking at this composition coming in from Winthrop University. Even though they did get a nice victory against Burger Boys, I still feel that there's a lot of gaps in what they're bringing out on the table here on the offensive side. There's not enough stall. I mean, playing a Clove instead of an Omen, trying to stall out towards Rubble when you don't have those flashes. This is probably something that YFP could start to take advantage of a lot here on the attack side, which you're already seeing 4 players setting up on that side.
Yeah, the win-streaking gang of Winthrop versus YFP, who I think upset everyone with that loss against Trust and Plug. But let's see if this defense from Winthrop can hold up and just peek out of the smoke. Infiltrator strikes first, and YFP are cut down. And now on their side of the map, it's Physic that falls, and YFP just can't get a leg up on this pistol. And now with this IGL change, I'm really looking at Physic to step up in terms of those numbers and for YFP to prove that they belong in playoffs.
Yeah, And so far, they haven't proven that for YFP. They just got thrashed here towards the orb, which was a beautiful hold by Winthrop. The only one that's able to do a bit of an impact here was stuck on a 1 versus 4, which is Thief. And as they've mentioned on the desk, he's been an integral part into YFP's success into the series, despite their loss against Trust and Plug yesterday. And that was due to his strongholds and his lurks that he was able to provide here on the attack side as well. For YFP in that previous round, it seems as though Winthrop University just wanted to go for a quick shutdown on a trap, give them the impression that they have free A control, and then go into this trap of salvos and just fighting through the smoke, and just got into a muddy fight and got the best out of YFP. They weren't expecting that one, and that's hopefully something that YFP is going to wake up right away and that they could adjust right off the rip.
See if they'll expect the outlaw buy from mid, and I thought that would have been nice to have at C or even at long A. But now Winthrop quickly pivoting after some early shots from YFP, who have already started getting on the site, and because of smoke, there hasn't been much of an exchange except Jake, who teleported forward to see how much Winthrop would step up and challenge the YFP squad. But the rifles from Winthrop, now that they're established, are just doing a lot more damage. And YFP with just a sheriff left. See if Thief can steal away this round with a 1v2, and it's just not going to happen. Winthrop take the anti-eco.
Some very good damage as well, but this is something that actually is going to scare me on the side of Winthrop University. You know, Ash was mentioning that this map has a lot of tape for both of these teams, that there's an opportunity for you to really try to outpace and outmaneuver your opponents. And the fact that Jakey was able to go for that Mako DRX TP once again from the Omen to the seaside, which he did a lot against the Tip yesterday as well, and he still catches the kill right here onto moves. It comes to show to me that maybe Winthrop University are still trying to come into this game with their own game plan and just adapt on the fly and not get too much here against YFP. That said, this is a gun round coming out for YFP. They didn't get any plants, so there's 2 players that's going to be on small shields, which is going to be Stellar and Thief. So this outlaw that you currently have for Winthrop could still do some heavy damage.
Already some early action from YFP in mid, but the smoke is cutting them off, and now peeking past this is Winthrop, and Infiltrator did this off of pistol, and that's how they got the first blood. But YFP being ready for it this time. Flare adjusts, goes 1 for 1. Now it's YFP that have taken damage, but now can they work this towards map control with their sights still set towards B?
So far, the read's good. Moobs is already rotated towards his B side. 3 of them are one-shottable from the Outlaw. Ali's going to try to do a little bit more damage with some body shots if he can with the Sheriff.
I thought the other shot was going to go through too, and it's just Physic left, and Winthrop, yeah, it's taking the whole army to take YFP down. They have like 1 or 2 people left, and it's forcing them to have to buy and buy up again. We'll see if the win streak of Winthrop will give them the edge, but YFP got to get a round going.
Yeah, it's not the W anymore. It's also getting rid of the throp for all the wins that they're currently getting here for Winthrop University. But I gotta say, there's a small mistake coming out from YFP. I still like that they stacked up towards the front B site to make sure that they guarantee these trades, and it did play it around a little bit more slowly, knowing that your opponents, you did some damage, didn't have the best bonus round coming through, but it chased after Ali with the Sheriff, and it just got caught off guard with that Outlaw. So a simple bait and switch that worked out for Winthrop, and YFP just like flies into Spider's web.
Right, moves relying on this delay from the vines at the front door. YFP are limited. Jake did teleport forward just like he did in the previous round, and moves took his time to find him. Winthrop having earlier reinforcements too, as YFP couldn't really follow up with Jake because of that smoke really obscuring YFP being able to trade with each other. And off of that ult from the defense from Flare, it did stop any fall from YFP, and they're trying to peek again, and Winthrop did not move an inch.
And a flawless on top of that too, with the pie that came out from YFP. This is not looking good as a start on the side of the attack. And if I had to come through here, there has to be some sort of timeout. I mean, there's still pings coming out towards the C side. There you go. They have to try to figure things out here. Again, going into the composition that Winthrop University brings out into this game, I still think that it's a weaker side that they have on the A side, Rubble Control. So YFP, yes, despite the piss round, they got caught by the trap play towards the orb. There's still a great opportunity for them to take rubble control and also try to create more of a diversion towards working the doors, having Thief on activation of these lurks again, because you're gonna force players to react a little bit more on the A site if you're gonna play more reactive and turtled up on the extremities of this A and B site. And going towards that C site every single time, this is being read by Winthrop University so far. You talked about those TPs out from Jakey, and those salvos came right away on the side of Winthrop University to actually smother him on that type of ground control that he was trying to get. So YFP, I think this is a great call for the timeout.
I just wish YFP were more explosive. Like if they had a raise or if they had just stronger flashes from Stellar. It just doesn't feel like they're making Winthrop really that uncomfortable on the defense, even when it's just one or two people, even when it's just moves on C. We haven't seen YFP really try A since Pistol. B didn't work out from just Winthrop holding angles and being ready for trades on the site, as you said. So YFP gonna try for C. Will they maybe even attempt to pivot? Like, there hasn't been too many mind games. YFP are very stubborn and committed once they decide on a site.
This is where it starts for sure, because you're about 2 orbs away from getting an ult out of the Yoru, so it's going to be a great thing to utilize as well. And you can see the utility utilized from YFP. They're using the Yoru clone to break the wall. They're using cameras to get info on top of that, and just trying to pull rotates and trying to see how Winthrop reacts. Already Winthrop coming out with a drone from the B site. They kind of know the positioning off the early util that was thrown by Winthrop, so they know they can finish now towards the C site because it's weaker on that side.
That early info from Flare. You know, YFP's defaulting, and this is more of a round I was hoping to see out of YFP to take your time. Because just teleporting Jakey forward and then the rest of the team just not being synced up on the pace hurt YFP, although I thought the strat was pretty creative to get a pick, and now a C plant is free. As Winthrop take angles around Waterfall and the back of site.
Expecting another big fight here because Ali does have the ult from the Clove, so you're definitely going to try to go in for instant trades.
It's going to be all up to Ali. Lead that charge, peeking first. What a flick on the Jakey. It is traded, but there is the ult, and YFP trying to stop the follow-up, the Waterfall from Winthrop. And they've just taken back over the site. The spike could even be tapped. You got the neural theft from Thief, and just try to do what you can. You don't have the numbers, even though you had the info. And Winthrop will defuse, and this is quite a streak that I'm starting to worry for YFP for, especially this is after the timeout.
Yep, and it's still very nice on how they scale back though for Winthrop University. Again, Ali leading the charge and getting even first blood on the retake is huge. On top of that, you get the information of the person that's going to come up towards that bend, and you know for the rest, as you push so far out, that the rest of the players are trying to play stall on the post plant with the salvos being utilized here by Physic. So thankfully here with how they've been working so well for Winthrop University, it's not necessarily trying to figure out the composition is weak or strong in terms of how they could trap, but just how good they are in the ways that they're able to trade with each other so far for Winthrop. That's taking the upper hand out of this fight.
All right, dimensional drift from YFP, checking out C, triggering as much as they can in terms of Vi's util on that side. The Hunter's Fury from Nasi to try and resist the YFP push, but good map control on the left side, but it is first blood from the defense, and when it rains it pours. YFP are still extending without really a plant going, without the team synergized for this, and now they're just peeking one by one, and Winthrop are taking every W in the column.
Yep. And you nail it on the head
tough.
Here. Yeah, you nail on the head, Lemmy Q, when you're mentioning here that they're peeking one by one. That despite them having a lower buy, so let's give them that at least for YFP, and you still get a plant down. But how they're trying to plan the pulse plant. Look at the X's. One pushing out towards the spawn solo, thinking that they were able to flip that map. And we talked about the lack of, or at least I talked about the lack of preparation into the pathing that Jakey has on the C site that was unaccounted for. But at least the tape is there to know about the late lurks coming out of Thief. So that was instantly taken down by Infiltrator when Thief was trying to activate towards the B site. So YFP has to come out with a brand new plan. Again, they have to maybe start trading just like Winthrop University are, because look at them. They're in the pack every single time for all of these fights. It's looking so good on the defensive end.
Yeah, ever since Winthrop added players to their roster, they've been on a win streak. Winthrop were 1-3, a second away from just being relegated, or at least not going to playoffs. Now they're in a position to knock YFP out of contention. It's Infiltrator using those probe smokes to just surprise YFP, and just the double kill and that spike down out in the open. And YFP are hesitating. It's going to be the Yoru clone that tries to make some space, and now you got even nades getting people in the back as Stellar was trying to maybe set up for some util. But it's taking YFP like a lot of time to get a counter, get a reaction going in these tense moments.
That just shows that they're not coordinated at that point. They worked as a group at the very beginning. They got that rubble control, and we talked about, hey, you could start activating the door. You could start pulling rotates. But what does Penny do as soon as he touches that door? He goes for an instant TP. They lose that space on rubble. They never had any type of inserts in the front of the B site or trying to get information all towards C. All 5 of them are grouped up at the A site at the very beginning. So you TP back and lose that space, and then your spike is out in the open trying to fall back when there's no util to cover him. That is just not good coordination coming out here from the side of YP. Things have changed, and it's not changing for Winthrop, though. They're landing every shot.
Infiltrator is just the go. Now you gave him an op. Now he can sit back and be pretty with it. And YFP, it's going to be Jakey with the ult to just get out of that situation. Winthrop able to get info too, having their Tejo sit around mid. To YFP, it feels like the only thing they know how to do is push C, and they're cut at the heel, especially with no B control. They're just getting flanked from the door being open. This is so clinical.
This is insane. And on top of that, you just mentioned on how Winthrop's been on a winning streak since Flair joined, but it's also since Ali also joined, and they had that first week where, you know, unfortunately they lost Jerk, and he came in and they still won the series for Winthrop University. Ali mentioned in the interview that they're just going to have to figure out their roles and what they could do here and make the best out of it. And it's Ali maintaining this controller role, and Flair has to switch out from that role into the initiator. But it works out overall for this team, because look at how good they are in terms of the synergy, how they're shooting, how they're moving around the map, how they're reading their opponents, and individual duels as well. This is looking like a much different with the Winthrop University than the last season Challengers that I also critiqued a lot on this team.
Just another first blood from Infiltrator. He runs this map. He's not afraid. He's stepping out of smoke solo. He's going for every op shot he can. And Winthrop will invest in that. They're so rich. It's YFP that have to break the mold, and they have to wake up now. You had the Trust and Plug match where you could say it was an off day, but this is the last chance. And YFP are losing one by one. And who is going to push back this off? And now there's a shotgun in the back pocket. And YFP just can't shoot back. Infiltrator almost got the ace. And YFP, they got to break glass and get the fire extinguisher out.
But look at him. He's standing out in the open with an op and could get no scopes, could just stand out in the open and never get challenged in terms of the utility that pushes him out on the angle. I mean, right now you're playing a composition here for YFP where technically it's difficult for you to get early information, but you still have a Euro clone you could throw. You still have a drone here to try to get information on that spot and see where your op could be posted up against so that you can push him out or maybe avoid him. But this is just Infiltrator. Just when you're giving him that space, he's going to take it for sure. And he's capitalizing on every single one of his op shots so far.
If this is how Lotus is starting, we have Fracture up next, and that's Winthrop's most picked map. I know it's YFP's technical pick on Fracture, but this is everybody's playground now. Stellar, the aftershock. Oh, I almost thought that was going to hit moves. And he swings around the corner and does get flashed by the Yoru clone. Still manages to get into safety. Jakey goes to punish and can't even do that. This is so tough to watch. This is not the YFP that started the season.
No, it's tough to watch, but thankfully the silver lining is that it's 10-0. So possibly we'll get a 13-0. We could just forget this map right away because, dude, the way that they just opened the door on top of that off the anchoring sites. I mean, Jake did try to do something, did try to TP for that space, but they haven't really been breaking that utility coming out from the Vice where Penny, like I said, after that timeout from YFP in round number 4, utilizing a clone to break the wall and stuff like that and work that map and waste utility out of Winthrop works out quite well. But if you're just going to try to hold W and explode in and not break into the util that Moves has, this is free reign for anybody that's trying to anchor that site.
All right. Info early for YFP. I would like to see just more, like a slower pace from YFP to get info to play the mind games, to have a lurk, to give themselves options. They're hitting C non-stop. And I don't have to remind you the score, but we'll see how this goes.
Oh, rare miss.
Infiltrator with the body shot. Now it's 5 HP for Thief.
Oh, yeah,
and
he
this
actually
is where,
hit.
yeah, YFP don't want that smoke, surprisingly. They're going to try B this time because, you know, they have been flanked by Winthrop over at that side, and they got to try to get a win in the middle of the map.
Right.
They're not going to get it. Oh, they're not going to get it.
It was a good scrap. It was a scrap for sure. YFP still got Jakey, and it's definitely one of their best players. If I trust anyone on YFP, it's him. But Thief has also 1 HP.
Enemy remaining.
And now Jakey's gone. So this is getting more and more cooked.
30 seconds left.
And that's the issue, too. The more that you're just trying to find ways to just get into the sites, you're starting to forget everything in the back line. And the YFP, this is not the first time that they went through the flank, but it's the first time that they actually caught up after the flank. And that was YFP were never expected out of that from Winthrop University. So that was very, very nice in how they're controlling this map here for Winthrop University. This is a thrashing. I can't lie. But YFP had the Euro clone where I thought that was going to be a silver lining too, like the G2 style. Get into the ult, try to get the fault line, try to get value out of your Yoru when you're finding the information. But the fault line was a little bit far off. He wasn't really there to try to help out. I don't think it was even in range to hit Infiltrate in the first place. So
Revealing area.
this is just forget it. Let's try to catch up on that second half, at least a pistol to try to get things going here for YFP.
And this is a good map for Winthrop too, because they had won this 13-5 against Burger Boys, and whatever you think about them, that's still a decisive victory. And that was just a couple days ago. And the YFP upset was yesterday, and you don't even know how much they've really gotten over that, how much they've been able to work as a team to get through the whatever is going on internally. And the first bloods continue to ring in favor of Winthrop.
And there, we finally have something, right? They tried the Rolling Thunder. It was actually a good read, Hail Mary, because of how Winthrop University has been holding towards this baby door. They opened the door, they pulled the full rotate on 4 players towards the A site. Now they're going to play a 3-1 on C.
All right, couple slip by. Moves just has to hold the angle and wait for Nasi, and Nasi's not coming in time, so Moves had to handle more than usual, and YFP are now scrapping more equally, but Ali has the ult, is trying to get back into the picture. YFP are now dealing with the flank that comes from that B door, so it's not over yet. Numbers now in favor of YFP, who also got to upgrade some weaponry. An Infiltrator is on the prowl though, and you gotta worry. 1v2 definitely possible. 12 seconds left, and
10 seconds left.
the spike hasn't been planted. Infiltrator just has to stop them from picking it up and planting. He could just play off of noise. The smoke is gonna make things difficult, but if anything, not the knife kill! Not the knife kill! That's disrespectful.
He had 10 HP left on top of that for Stellar.
Switching sides.
I mean, I respect it. Infiltrator still had 18 bullets in his Vandal, but he just wanted to try to end it with a nice little 12-0 and a knife kill just to, you know, put the final nail in the coffin. But man, what a great start by Winthrop University on the defensive side. It had to come down with a tiny throw out of Winthrop University to allow YFP to get the first round. But the play around all of that towards the end, from beginning to the end, was quite nice here individually from every single one of these players from Winthrop University. Look at how close that was, dude. He probably just shredded the sleeve out of the breach arm.
Gave him a haircut for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know how good that win feels for YFP. I mean, 1 round is a round. I'm a cope as hard as I can, but almost getting clipped on by a knife doesn't probably feel too good. But YFP eventually did get C done, but they find themselves on defense. And this is a must-win round, in my opinion, for YFP. See if they can even attempt to climb back Mount Everest. And people train for years to do that, so...
And unfortunately, some of them also just die while climbing. But that said, the read coming out from Winthrop University in the very beginning, opening that door, eating that fault line, but also making sure that he falls back on time. This is good reads coming out here from the scaling of Winthrop. Look at how YFP are now focused so much all over towards this A site, and there's nothing really holding them towards C, because you have a Ghost and a Cage that was bought up by Thief. This is an open C site to take, a 4v1, and maybe the best thing you could do is try to delay here with Physic with the salvos.
I think Thief got pinged too. by the Tejo, so had to retreat to Waterfall, and he got chased down. Winthrop lead with so much confidence. YFP are they yapping too much? Like they're really trying to coordinate something special, and Winthrop, no, that's the time to strike. And Flair with 2, that was really clean.
I don't know how much I can repeat myself during these rounds. This is so hard to watch, man. It hurts so much to witness this because you know what YFP is able to bring. And I started this Swiss stage saying how YFP is potentially like finally crossing like the gatekeeping team of like the TSM of last season. It also has an opportunity to really go into a deep run in the playoffs because of how good they looked. But over since the last 3 series that came through, and maybe even the tough loss that they had against Trust and Plug yesterday, potentially may have affected them towards today's game. With so much pressure on the line, this is elimination pretty much in this series, and YFP is not off to a great start. That hopefully is not going to linger on here for the rest of the series.
But I know someone like Stellar can try to keep the good vibes going as best as he can, and they'll try, despite blow for blow, throw punches back, whatever it takes, and Winthrop are carving their way towards A with 1 on the other side of this door, and Stellar's not going to run away. He's going to try just go for the big play, and now it costs him and any util that YFP could have had to strengthen themselves in a number disadvantage. Now it's up to Thief, and he's been red on the flank and does pivot nicely and win that against Moobs. A 1v2 running forward, hoping to use cages to disguise his swing and not even needing it. He got the high-low, and there's your 13-1 for Winthrop. 1 map closer to representing Collegiate Valorant in playoffs.
That is crazy as a result, sorry, on this first map. Again, I was also trying to dismantle Winthrop University's setup here of what they have on paper, and how it's going to be hard for them to hold out these early pushes out from the attack side on the defense. But their retake game's been really good. Their trading capability has been really good. Infiltrator just had an easy run with the operator as well. There was really nothing that allowed YFP to push Winthrop University out of these lines. And man, a 13-1 scoreline is basically the result that you see because of how dominant it's been on one side for the collegiate team.
And I'll try to provide like a bit of a silver lining. Winthrop lost 13-2 on Fracture against Burger Boys. Don't shake your head yet. I'm trying to.
I'm trying as well. Silver lining, not their map pick for YFP. You know, their silver lining is that they could still play their map on Fracture next.
It's absolute cinema, but it's R-rated. But we're gonna have to hear from the desk. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Yeah, I'm not admitted.
Well, the only one on the team that I've 1v1 was Derek, because he like kept shit talking me on like opping. I fucking cooked his ass, dude. I do not want to hear it from him. Probably Derek, yeah, probably Derek. He's done it once with me. I think he's done it with other people on the team as well. Like, I think like that's just like his thing, bro. He just likes it.
Alvin, if we lose a round and then the next round we're on like eco or something, he's like, well, I'm gonna go swing wide with my deagle. Just take a 1. And sometimes he's good for 3. So yeah, that's how he plays. Like he's on Kovacs.
Oh my god, Redux instantly. As soon as he loses something, he's instantly asking to 1v1. Yeah, I can't beat him, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Probably Paint. He's the guy who's always in the range. He's always like, you know, looking for the 1v1 fights. I gotta say it's him.
I'd say Snarly. This guy always wants to fight, man. He's always looking for a fight, or maybe even Timo.
being like a duelist player, but I think I'll stick with my first enter Snarly. He's always looking for a fight. He's like, yo, give him my one. I'm gonna go peek this. I'm gonna go peek that. I give to Snarly. He's got some good confidence.
Definitely Alum. His personality is very silly, so he seems to be the one who's gonna call somebody out, you know, and like, yo, just 1v1 me, bro. I see him doing it. I can see him doing it.
Probably Recoil. He's definitely our best aimer by far, and he understands how to isolate ones perfectly, and I feel like in a 1v1 he's probably ripping someone's head off, to be honest.
I'd say it'd probably be moves. He'd probably want to square up with me or something if I made a bad call or something.
I think Penny, he's ultra confident. You know, I think he could take down anybody. So he's like, if you're gonna lose somebody, you'd be like, nah, that was an accident. Well, let me get the 1v1.